Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different for me, kind of, by way of the Studio Series Bumblebee movie, Arcee. And I say different because I haven't looked at a lot of the Bumblebee movie characters. Granted, I did look at Ravage, I did look at Thrust, technically, and I think I may have looked at one more. I'm not sure now. But they have been rare. I have only heard good things about this Arcee. Is she as good as the hype would make one believe? Well, we're about to find out when we jump into the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, and also in the description down below. And if you right there are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is Studio Series, I think it's 85 Arcee. It's the Bumblebee movie Arcee, and I think it's pretty great. One of the issues that a lot of people have had with the live action films is that they took characters that we know and love and are already familiar with and turned them completely on their ear for the most part, making them almost, in some cases, completely unrecognizable. I think that this is a benchmark example of exactly how a live action version should be done of a character that we know. And I'll talk about that later. This is more impressive than I thought it was going to be. Perfect? No, but quite a strong representation of Arcee, and I think I might understand where the love lies. We will compare her to the Studio Series 86, and we will take a look at everything to do with her. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at her. And yes, indeed, courtesy of our buddy Ultra Megatronus and Maximal 10, this is on loan to me, and it is the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Arcee. I haven't looked at much from the Bumblebee movie line. I did look at the Starscream Thrust mold because I used that Thrust as my version of Liege Maximo. I did look at the off-road Bumblebee that I'm pretty sure was at the beginning of that movie, if I'm not mistaken. But the ones for the scenes on Cybertron. Oh, and I guess I looked at Ravage. Yeah, I looked at Ravage not that long ago. So I've looked at a few, but it's been sparse. Like I didn't look at Soundwave or Studio Series 38 Optimus or, I don't know, Brawn, Ratchet, Ironhide, right? So like this is a bit of a treat because I've only heard good things. Will she live up to the hype? We're going to find out, but first, we'd be remiss if we didn't look at the packaging. This looks really nice. Very nice artwork of Arcee here. Nice close-up of her face over here, although I do find her face a little bit hideous, to be honest with you. Lovely artwork over here as well. And on the back, we do, of course, have the product images that we have come to know and love. Oh, we have some big-time instructions, and they're pretty good. They're all right. She comes with not one, but two of these gray blasters. They're kind of a warm gray. I wish that they were a cool gray. The warm gray is the gray that has been known to turn yellow. I hope that that doesn't happen with these because they look pretty cool. They're not painted, but they look pretty cool. We also kind of like store them on her in robot mode using the little like squarish rectangular slot on the side. Just to show it, you can see one of the blasters right here. On the top up right here, there's just a little nub, basically, that they slot over. But you know what? It's pretty secure and stays there quite well. She comes with the Cybertron Falls backdrop. I mean, why wouldn't she? It's the scene where she was shown, basically, right? If I'm not mistaken. And now Arcee to Arcee. I mean, they're comparable. The Studio Series 1 looks to be shorter, sure, but it actually has 2 grams more plastic. The Studio Series 86 Arcee clocks in at kind of a paltry 49 grams of plastic. I wish that she was more, but she does have some interesting torso engineering. Well, guess what? This one clocks in at 51 grams. Again, I wish it was bigger. I get it, they're fembots, they're smaller, blah, 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 blah. However, I will also say that the torso engineering for the Bumblebee movie Arcee is insane. The legs, the arms, they're simple, but the torso engineering is very interesting and a little bit bonkers. And this is one of those cases where, yeah, we gave up mass. I think more mass than I'm happy with. But man, I really do understand the engineering and the added parts count here. Like, there's a significant trade-off in those regards. And honestly, despite the lack of the mass, even though I'd like it to be a bit bigger, I still feel like that this is okay. I still feel like that this is acceptable, and I still feel like that this falls in the range of what a deluxe class should be. Now, the other side that I wanted to mention here is, I don't know why we had to go through 5 or 6 movies before the idea caught on that we have a look and a palette and an established set of parameters for a number of characters. Why completely reinvent that? Why completely start from scratch? Why not just pay homage to the original character in a way that seems familiar, yet still stylized for the live action movies? And that's exactly what this Arcee does. You look at this next to the 86, and like you can see the white legs, the pink knees. You can see the pink pelvis and the kind of gray tummy. You can see the white and pink on the chest. You can see the kind of slightly pinkish face and the white head. You can even see the sections behind the shoulders. To me, this is a respectful version of Arcee to homage the original character. It's nice too that she kind of turns into a cybertronian cycle, so to speak, which harkens back to, you know, a nod to Transformers Prime Arcee. So I like that. I dig that. In terms of look, I'm going to say that she looks like the film. I'm going to give it, if it's not perfect, it's close on, man. I mean, maybe we're missing a few white highlights like around the bicep and the shoulder. You know, a couple of slight things. I'm going to say it's a solid 9.5. It's pretty darn close. Maybe not perfect, but pretty darn close. What about the articulation? The head can go left and right, look way up, and can look down a bit. The arms are very tight. I'm pretty sure I think it's a ball joint. They're very tight, can go all the way forward and back. Oh, it feels like a hinge though, man. I'm not sure. It might be a ball joint into a hinge. I'm not sure. Little over 90 degrees at the bicep. We have a bicep rotation. Oh, double elbow, by the way. Double elbow. I said 90 degrees at the bicep, but I meant 90 degrees at the elbow. I was wrong. Double elbow for the full range. The hands can fold in, but there's no rotation, so that's a slight bummer. We do have a waist, which is very nice, and that's very free-flowing. Nothing gets in the way of it. I can even take those up out of the way. Leg all the way forward. Leg all the way back. She can do full splits. Thigh swivel, and like I'll note too that like not much hollowness, man. Like she's fairly filled in and fairly solid, honestly. I don't know what the point is of opening these out, so I just left them down as like a leg wing, I guess. Knee to 90 degrees. And we do have an ankle tilt. Very deep ankle tilt, actually. It's for transformation more than anything, but it's there. I do wish on this copy that the torso stayed together a little bit better. Or maybe that's not the issue at all. Maybe it's the shoulders are just a little bit too tight. If the shoulders were slightly looser or the torso tabbed together slightly more solid, then I think it would be slightly better. Why do I say that? Because if I don't hold the torso and I go to, say, move an arm forward or back, it kind of begins to pull things apart, right? It's not loose. Like to have her displayed or take her and like shake her, like it's not even loose. It's just the arms are such a tight tolerance that it does affect that. I don't know. If it was me, I think I would actually consider popping the arms off and sanding down the ball joints a little bit and popping them back on. Still, honestly, a 9.5 for the look, and I'm going to say, I don't know, for the articulation, I wish we had wrist, but that's about it. I'm going to say a 9 there, so a 9.25, pretty darn great. And now we get to the most interesting part, the transformation, man. So actually, I took a second and I took a closer look. The shoulders are not on ball joints, they are on hinges and they are pinned. So while it's tight, maybe I wouldn't try sanding it down. You know, I guess if you wanted to remove a pin bad enough. If it was a simple popping off the ball joint, then yeah, it'd be worth doing. But for this, I don't think it's worth doing. I mean, I would certainly leave it. It's not a big deal to have to kind of hold the torso a bit. It's, you know, slight tolerance issue. Still, 9.25. Okay, so let's do the transformation. Oh, buddy, I hope I remember this. We're going to turn the waist around because we're going to have to do that eventually anyway. We're going to collapse up what I'm calling the leg wings. To be fair, you could just leave them up there anyway. There's really no need for these to come out. Bring in an ankle, pull it down, bring the foot around all the way, and close it back in and close it up. And you can do that on the other side, and if you want, you can sort of give her, I guess it's like roller skate feet, I suppose you could say. Like that, right? And by rights, these are supposed to tab together. I'm not going to do it now because if I do, they're only going to come apart a billion times, and that's going to get really annoying really fast. Okay, the chest will become the back of the vehicle. So we're going to actually take the chest out. We're going to bring the arms out. We're just going to bring all that down there for now and open out all of this. So there's a ton going on here in the torso. A bunch of hinges and joints and stuff. Now this whole armature of hinges and joints and whatnot will fold up pretty nicely in the end. So I'm going to take these now and rotate them down, and take these and rotate them down because we're going to have to use them later to really kind of peg into the arms, right? We're going to open out this section and begin to bring all of this armature forward, I think. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Yes, we bring all of that forward. So you make sure that the head comes up from here, you bring all of this forward. The head is going to come in through and you're going to slot it down in here. Make sure that we get it down there and close that up. And then we're going to make sure that all of this gets lined up here as well. Then using the rest of these armatures, I suppose, we're going to bring all of this down over the legs. When we bring it down over the legs, we have a number of pegs and ports that are going to get utilized here. We have a peg here that will go into a slot on the thigh. We have a little nub here that will go into a little slot below the knee. I don't find the nub one likes to stay that well. I do find the ones on the thigh are probably your best guide, and they're on both sides. They kind of go in there. Again, I'm not going to put the front tires together yet because there's no real point in doing that just yet. We're going to bring up the body, and when we do so, we have a couple of ports in here by the shoulders. They're going to go over a couple of pegs here. It's fairly loose. It kind of just guides there, but it's not. It kind of just guides there, but like it's, I don't know. It's fine, I guess. We're going to bring down this arm and bring it out, and we're going to bring down, see, it doesn't want to do it there now, this arm and bring it out. We're going to fold in the hands. Now, what's going to happen now is this whole piece needs to come down. When we bring this piece down, there's a rectangular peg that goes into a slot here on the thigh, and there's this rectangular port that goes over this peg on the arm. It does take a little bit of finesse and finagling sometimes to get it down, but basically these come down over. Now some people will take the blasters out here now and put it in the hands, which is what I'm going to do. This is more me having to fiddle getting stuff together than it is anything else, and these should be able to go push together. You'll see that they are coming apart. That's because the legs aren't quite perfectly straight. If they're perfectly straight, they won't come apart. I'm going to get all this pegged in and then we'll talk about her alt mode. And boom, here we have Arcee in her motorcycle mode. I'm saying motorcycle mode. It's still a nice homage to her car. It rolls fine. There's the two tires up here, and yes, they are together now. The canopy can open for whatever reason. To put these pieces on, I find the best thing to do is to tab the rectangular port over the peg on the arm and then bring the whole shoulder down and peg the rectangular peg into the leg after. Very, very solid, very, very secure once it's done. This is what she looks like underneath. This is what she looks like from the top down view. And you can see the two blasters are back here in her hands. Why not? They can work like thrusters maybe. I think it's a great mode. I think it's a logical, progression to get here. I think that her body parts do the things that you would expect Arcee's body parts to do. Like the legs become kind of the size of the vehicle. We sort of expect that now, you know? This makes sense. If this was the way Arcee's G1 cybertronian mode looked like, I would buy it. I would say, yeah, that makes sense. I could believe that that's G1. This was an ideal adaptation. The transformation is logical. There's a ton that moves. It's very interesting, yet very intuitive and very fun to go between both modes. I'm giving it a 10. She was a 9.25. The transformation, I think, is a 10. Overall, she's about a 9.75. She is fantastic. And here we are once again, and here she is. So, yeah, in terms of robot, like, there's no problem to tell that this is Arcee. It looks very Arcee-esque. The colors are mostly accurate to what they should be based on the G1. I do wish that the eyes were blue. They look a little bit kind of dead if the light piping... maybe they are blue. I'm not sure, but I feel like I wish the eyes were a bit of a brighter blue. Outside of that, though, like, the colors are pretty much all there. I totally dig it. I even like the pink Autobot symbol. I think that that's cool. Great robot mode. The articulation, really second to none. A wrist would be nice. Outside of that, I mean, not much to complain about. She's always at a little bit of an A stance because of the way her feet are, but I think that usually when you stand her up, she's going to be at a little bit of an A stance anyway, rather than, like, in like this. I think that would look weird. So the articulation, pretty good. I love the double jointed elbows. The look, pretty great. The transformation, I think it's genius. The legs are pretty simple. The arms are pretty simple, but the magic and unfurling and unfolding of the torso is great. The fact that you have to turn at the waist is just a nice little step that they didn't have to necessarily do, but I'm glad that they did. Yeah, I think she's a success. I think she's a great little Arcee. Is she the best Arcee we've ever had? The only gripe that would keep me from saying she's the best, or at least one of the best Arcees we've ever had, is that the tolerances on the shoulders are so tight that when I move them, it does kind of bring the torso apart. That's the only thing. A slight tolerance issue is the only thing that keeps her from being over the top. As she is, she's fantastic. And maybe your tolerances are a little bit better than this copy's. Like I said in the review, she's not loose. She's not going to like fall apart if you shake her or anything like that. It's just either the pegs that hold the torso together should have been slightly thicker, stronger, bigger, whatever, or the shoulder hinges should have been toleranced a little less hard, a little less tight, a little less... I don't want to say solid, but they shouldn't have been maybe as, like, even now moving it, it's a bit tight. I'm not gonna lie. No deal breaker. She's great. I love her. I think she's pretty fantastic. What do you think about the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Arcee? You know that I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position, man, to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. And especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.